Welcome to our Habitat for Humanity home maintenance class. My name is Paul Gusty, and I'm a volunteer instructor with Habitat for Humanity. I always like to start these classes with a disclaimer. I am not a professional carpenter or a plumber or an electrician or a professional painter. I am, in fact, just like you. I am a homeowner. And I have maybe gotten a little bit more experience than you have at this point in your stage of home ownership because I've owned several houses and I've gained some experience working on them over the years. So I would like to share with you today what I've learned, and maybe you will take that and become more confident about tackling some of the projects that will come up in your house. So with that said, let's get started. Now we're going to go on and talk about hanging things, or basically how to hang objects that you want to hang on your walls. And so you have really two choices as to where to hang these things or how to hang them. And it has to do with the weight of the object you're hanging. If it's really heavy, you really need to penetrate the studs in the wall here. So we have a sample wall, and we're going to be using this to demonstrate some of the techniques of hanging things. Nothing is stronger than penetrating through the wall into the wood stud in the back with a screw. That will handle pretty much any weight that you can imagine putting on your wall. If it's lighter weight, you can afford to put things through the drywall, and we'll show you how you can anchor them with various different products. I want to talk about TVs because everybody wants to hang their TV on the wall. That seems to be the most popular thing. Our modern TVs, I mean, they're huge, but they're also very lightweight. They don't weigh that much. So you might think to yourself, I could just, pound something through the drywall and use one of those cheaper Molly bolts, or the things that we're going to show you. But I'm here to argue that you really need to anchor that TV to the stud. One of the reasons is you mount these things on the wall, and then you usually buy a plate, like a plate about yay big, and there are arms that come off of that plate. And so you can go up to the wall, and I'm reaching up to the TV, and you can pull the TV forward out of the wall. You can angle it this way or that way. You can tilt it up and down. And that motion of moving that television puts a lot of pressure on the connection to the wall. And if you were only through the drywall, and over time, it maybe wouldn't happen the first couple of times you did it, but after 6 months of moving this TV around, you're going to weaken that connection through the wall, and the wall board will start to maybe give way. And you don't want your TV falling on the ground. And now we're ready to show you actually how to find a stud so that you can mount your TV or any heavy object onto the wall. So here is the stud finder, and it's a cheap item. Actually, it's about $10. They make more expensive ones. They make some ones that actually detect electrical wiring in the wall. They're probably twice as much. But this is just a simple, your basic run-of-the-mill stud finder, and it works just fine. And so you put it up on the flat wall, and I have no idea where the studs are. And there's a switch here. I'm going to turn the battery power on here, and that's going to activate the battery, and the light comes on, and now I run it smoothly across the surface of the wall and just keep running it. And when it finds a stud, it'll let me know. There we go. So that tells us that's the edge of the stud it just found. So I'm going to put a mark right here. That's the edge of the stud. And now I'm going to keep going. And when the stud is passed, it will end the beep, and then there's your mark. So that's your thickness of the stud right there, okay? And then you do that you're going to need two studs, of course, so you do that to the other stud. I'm going to come this way. As a reminder, studs are 16 inches on center. So every 16 inches, you've got another stud. So let's come this way and turn the power on. move it this way, and in 16 inches, we should find another stud. Yep, here we are. So there's the edge of the stud. Make a mark. Keep going. Should be another 1.5 inches. And the stud goes out. And then, so that's our stud. Okay, so then, and you know that these studs go vertically up and down. So it should be, you could, if you wanted to put the screw a little higher, you can just go straight up and that should be fine. So you put your plate on here and you're going to screw the plate in. There's going to be a screw at the bottom and then the screw at the top. So there's 4 screws in the plate typically. And then there's an arm like we talked about, and you attach your TV to those arms. And now you can pull your TV out from the wall. You can tilt it down, angle it sideways or whatever. And you can put a lot of torque on that wall. And because you're in the studs, your TV is not going to go anywhere. So that's the best way to hang your TV. And in fact, anything that's heavy, that you don't want to trust the less stable wallboard, you just anchor it to a stud and you're good to go. But they do make quite a number of wallboard or drywall anchors, they call them. And if you go to any hardware store, you're going to find at least a dozen, maybe 2 dozen different kinds of wallboard anchors. We have a couple here to show you, and we're actually going to do a couple of demos as well. So these are the more popular ones that penetrate the drywall. But just to let you know, if you have something that's really light, and I don't want to necessarily plug a brand because there's a bunch of different brands that do this kind of thing. This is an adhesive with Velcro. So you can, if it's light enough, again, without penetrating your wall and ruining your great paint job, you can just take 2 of these out. One goes on the wall, one goes on your object, and then the Velcro snaps together and you can suspend something, maybe in the range of 10 pounds. So that's an option for you. But if you have something a little heavier or something that's going to get used a bit, you might want to penetrate your drywall. So these are among the most common drywall anchors that are out there. I want to call out this one here. This is called a plastic anchor. You may recognize that one because if you buy, my favorite topic is towel bars. If you buy a towel bar, they're going to throw 4 of these inside the box for you, and they're going to give them to you for free, basically. And what I would recommend that you do is to throw them away because they don't hold very well in the wallboard. The reason I bring up towel bars is, hell, here again, they're not very heavy. They weigh less than a pound. But how do you use a towel bar? Think about how you're going to use what you're hanging on the wall. You're going to put a bath towel over that towel bar, and somebody's going to yank that towel off the towel bar as they get out of the shower or something. And maybe it'll survive 10 yanks, but 6 months from now, that 110th yank is going to pull that towel bar off of the wall. And now you've got a little damage in your wall that you have to repair. So it's just better to get rid of this and get one of the more sturdy wallboard anchors. So we're going to demo a couple of these things, but this one is a self-drilling anchor that it's actually kind of a great design. It's just like a big screw, but it's plastic. It has very big threads to it. And you just take a drill bit and put that against the wall and you just drill it right straight through the wall. And then there's a screw that you can anchor something to the wall using the screw into the anchor in the wall. So that's pretty easy to use, actually. And it'll hold, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 pounds. And then there's another one, an expanding anchor. In fact, all of these 2 are both expanding anchors. The concept is, and we'll show you one, you drill a hole and insert this little plastic item, and then you screw the screw in, and it'll cause the bottom of this to expand. And in fact, I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to show you this is that expanding anchor. If I angle this a little bit more to the camera, you can see how it's splayed out. So it makes it harder to pull out of the wall because it's now wider than the hole. And then this one here is even more splayed out. It actually has metal legs that stick out as it goes in. The motion of screwing into the wall causes these legs to spread out and anchor the wall or hold onto the wall. And then the last one, that by the way is called a molly bolt. The last one that I'm going to talk about here is it's called a toggle bolt. So the toggle bolt comes in all kinds of different sizes. You can get them into industrial size. They're probably about the sturdiest of all of the anchors that you can put in your wall. And we're going to demonstrate how that looks. But you can see on the backside that it really opens up and really grabs a lot of the wall. And that pressure between the screw and holding the flanges out against the wall creates a lot of support for anything you're hanging on the other side. Okay, so I have already pre-drilled a hole that we need in the wall, and I wanted to show you how I chose which drill bit to use. The toggle bolt, it bends down like this, and so it has to be inserted through the wall. So I squeezed this down where it has to go through, and I just found a drill bit that was the right size that would allow the toggle bolt head to fit through the wall. And then we're going to insert that into the wall now, and we'll show you not only how it looks as I drill it in, but how it looks on the back side when it opens. Okay, now that we have the hole in the wall that's properly sized, we're going to get ready to put the toggle bolt together. You don't really just want a screw in the wall, you want a hook. So I just found these hooks that will work for our demonstration. And let's just say you want to hang this on the wall, and maybe you're going to hang something on that. All right, so you put the hook on there. So we do that, and then you screw the end of the toggle bolt back into place. And then now we're going to simply, I'm going to squeeze the toggle together and then push it into the hole. And that hole is a little snug, but that's okay. I'm just going to push it through. And now we're getting ready for the magic on the backside. I'm pushing the toggle through, and I think it just splayed open on the backside. And then I'm going to put a little pressure on this, and then I'm just going to screw this in. And there we go, it's in there. In fact, I can't even move it. And that's how to anchor a toggle bolt. And again, that will hold a tremendous amount of weight. So it's a good option. The other one that we're going to demonstrate is one of these spreading anchor bolts. And so the process is pretty much the same. We've got to find a drill bit that will allow this to push through. So I think I've pre-selected one here. Let me set this up really quickly. And let's just say we want to put it like right here. Obviously, you wouldn't do that in your own home, but for demonstration purposes, I want to make sure there's nothing back here. I'm going to put it right here. So that's where we want it. There's our hole, clean it up a little bit. And I'm going to start my drill bit because I'm going to need that. And I've already placed a hook around this screw that will go in here. And it's going to go like this. And then as I drill in, these legs, if you will, are going to spread out behind the wallboard and grab the wallboard, giving us some pressure. Okay, so let's place the anchor through our hole. And it's good that the hole is snug because you don't want it too loose because otherwise you'll lose the purchasing power that it has. So I'm going to end up forcing it a little bit through the hole. If I chose the next larger drill bit that I have, I'm afraid that it might make it too loose and that we would lose our ability to store, to have it support more weight. So I'm going to see if I can tap it through. There it goes. It's in there pretty tight, so I'm going to keep going with the hammer. There, that's in there pretty darn good. All right, so now we've got our hook indicating what we want to hang, and then it's a simple matter of screwing this through. I'm going to see if I can get the thread started. It's started manually, and I'll never be able to keep going without power here. So let's start to screw. And it wiggles around a little bit, as you can see, but once it gets into the anchor a little bit, it'll straighten out. I'm going to not worry about that hook flailing around until the end. And we can set that the way we want it. Yep. There we go. I'll do one more. And that's another hook. And you can see on the backside what that anchor does. So those are the two of the possibilities that you have available to you for penetrating the wallboard and holding something that holds a substantial amount of weight. And that concludes our home maintenance course today. Thank you for spending your valuable time with me, and I hope you took away some useful lessons. And remember, if you're taking this course for credit, please take the test at the end of the course.